So, continuing now to explore the theme of information. This video is part of a series of investigative talks which happen during a journey through certain areas of the land. And in this investigation, I'm going to look at certain subjects from various angles and find a perspective which seems useful to me. And then maybe you also could find something of value in this. To give a certain direction to this, I want to have various themes to investigate. So the theme which I'm currently looking into is the theme of information. Everything which is being said during these investigative talks is what you could call language experiments which try to elucidate interesting perspectives. In other words, none of it is conclusive in any way, but just tries to find an angle which can lead into interesting areas. And therefore, strictly speaking, I don't know what I'm going to say as these videos begin. I don't know what I'm going to say in the next minutes, apart from the fact that I'm taking as the point of departure the theme of information, which is a theme which interests me personally a great deal. As mentioned in the previous videos, the perspective of information that I'm operating from is to view information as a kind of pattern which emerges within the general field of events in space. And this includes everything we call physical events as well as all our personal experiences. As far as I can see, the physical and the psychological always go closely together. You can never have one without the other. And information is a unique kind of pattern which is given meaning in this physical space and has various consequences and effects and functions dependent on where the information is active. One very fascinating aspect of information is that it has a kind of patterning ability. When information emerges in space and when it is being experienced by a human being in this space, we can see that the structure of the information will powerfully influence the structure of the person's thinking. If the person has a kind of a theoretical perspective, then this theoretical perspective will determine where the attention goes. It will determine how phenomena are interpreted. What is being seen as relevant and what is being discarded. This process can then be further amplified through human culture and through the transmission of information in society. Through the transmission of various theoretical frameworks, perspectives, world views, ways of seeing things and ways of thinking about things. This process is further amplified by information technology. Information technology has, during a pretty short period of time, developed to a very advanced level in the sense of ability of transmitting various kinds of information signals from one place to another very quickly, and also the possibility of sending from one place to many other places and from one human brain to many other human brains. This is why we have such phenomena as viral marketing or virality. Where the language is a kind of a structure which is being transmitted from one human brain to another. And where the structure of this language and the general state of affairs where this language is being interpreted goes together in one total result, which is what actually happens. And the part of what actually happens is how this information is being understood and what kind of consequences it has for the thinking, for the activity, and for the communications between the people and the relationships that develop between them over longer periods of time. So in other words, the context of the information always determines how it's being understood. part of this context is also the unique structure of that information expression. So the unique structure of the information will tend to have certain effects in the world where it is being shared. If you say things in a certain way, people will have a tendency to react in this or that way. If you, for example, share the information which says, "Fuck you, you're a stupid jerk," then that will have a tendency to produce a certain kind of reactions. And that kind of reactions will be quite different from the kind of reactions you would get if you shared the information expression of, "You are a really wonderful person who has a lot of interesting points of view." If you say this many hundred times to different people in different situations, I feel quite confident that there will be a certain general pattern in their responses. So, when some people talk about the meaning of words being a result of the structure itself of the words, and when other people talk about the meaning of words being the result of the general circumstances into which those words are being used, they are both obviously right. As I see it, it is in fact the exact interplay of the structure of the information and the structure of the entire field of events into which the information is taking place. It is the entire interplay of all of these factors which will give the information its exact meaning. That is where its significance is. This is where its value is. This is where the potential for improvement is. So, it is very important to look at the attitudes we have personally to the words we hear and read and speak and think about. And it is also important, what are the words which we use ourselves? What are actually the sentences? What is the exact combination of expressions? And what is the time and the place and the address where these expressions are being carried over? All of these things are influential. And if we are going to look very seriously at the meaning of information, we cannot discard any of them. They are all relevant. They are all relevant together. And if you take one of them out, the whole thing misses something essential. So how you speak matters. The way you speak matters. Who you speak to matters. The time and the place and the atmosphere and the circumstances matters. All of these things matter together. together with all the memories from previous times, together with all the associations and connotations, even if a word has a similar sound to another word, then just the similarity of that sound can evoke that association. Even if you say the word shitbag and the circumstances make it clear that you mean it metaphorically, this does not prevent the mind from actually having a picture of a bag of shit. Just keep that in mind. So the metaphors we use and the examples we use and the kind of mental picturings which comes out of those examples, these things matter. These things are highly influential and are part of the factors which determine the meaning of the information. So if a person wants to say anything, hold a speech, write a letter, make a video and put it out on YouTube, write a blog post, come with a comment, answer a question, ask a question, or just tell a joke, then all of these mentioned issues which have to do with the meaning of information will be highly important and relevant for that person's interests.